February of 1959, 9 young hikers vanished in the frozen wilderness of the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia. They were experienced, skilled, and prepared for the brutal conditions. But when rescuers finally found their camp, they walked into a nightmare, frozen in time. This video contains scenes that some viewers may find disturbing. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The hikers' tent had been slashed open from the inside. Their boots, coats, journals, and food were left behind, as if they had fled in a blind panic. Scattered among their belongings was a roll of film. Most of the photos showed ordinary moments, smiles, skiing, campfires, but one image stood out. A blurry figure in the trees, dark, human-like, but somehow not. To this day, no one knows who or what it was. And then there were the bodies, some barefoot in the snow, some with ribs crushed by a force greater than a car crash. One woman's tongue had been torn out. The Soviet government called it a compelling natural force, but fragments of evidence suggested something stranger, something that may have been stalking them in the snow. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident. The Ural Mountains cut across western Russia, brutal and remote. The locals, the Mansi people, avoided one particular peak, Kholat Syakhl, Mountain of the Dead. Legends told of hunters who vanished there, of giant figures glimpsed between the trees, of footprints too large to be human. To outsiders it was folklore. To the hikers of 1959, it was just a name on a map. They laughed about it in their journals. One even wrote, "Now we know the snowman exists." But those words would outlive them. The expedition was led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a meticulous and disciplined student who carried a notebook everywhere. The others were Lyudmila Dubinina, 20, tough, outspoken, once finished a trek after being shot in the leg by accident. Zina Kolmogorova, 22, cheerful, but recently broken up with another hiker on the trip. Rustem Slobodin, 23, an athlete, the joker of the group. Yuri Doroshenko and Yuri Krivonashenko, both pranksters, always keeping spirits up. Alexander Kolovatov, 24, serious, methodical, former lab worker. Semyon Zolotaryov, 37, the oldest, a veteran with tattoos that remain mysterious. Nikolai Thibaut Brignot, 23, easygoing, with an adventurous streak. And there was a 10th, Yuri Yudin, who turned back due to illness. He would live, the others would not. January 27th, the group begins the trek. Spirits are high. They take photos of each other skiing and laughing. January 28th, Yudin turns back. He later said it haunted him for the rest of his life. If I had gone with them, I would have died too. January 30th, diary entries describe worsening conditions. The wind is strong. The frost is 30 below. January 31st, they struggle uphill. Dubinina writes, "We are exhausted, but we must go on." February 1st, they camp on the slope of Kholat Syakhl. The last photos show them laughing, eating dinner, smiling through the cold. Hours later, something drove them to flee barefoot into the storm. When the hikers didn't return, the military launched a search. On February 26th, rescuers found the tent. It was half collapsed, covered in snow, but the inside was orderly. Boots, coats, food, journals, all untouched. The canvas was slashed open from within. Outside, footprints led away calmly, as if walking in a line. Bare feet, socks, light shoes, not a frantic sprint. a deliberate walk into the forest, into the cold. At the edge of a cedar forest, they found the first two, Krivonyshenko and Doroshenko, barefoot, wearing only underwear. They had tried to build a fire. Their hands were burned. Flesh was torn from tree branches above, as if they had climbed desperately. Nearby, three more bodies, Dyatlov, Zina, and Slobodin, all collapsed mid-struggle back toward the tent. Slobodin's skull bore a fracture, 5 found, 4 missing. In May, when the snow melted, searchers found the last 4 in a ravine. Thibaut Brignol, fractured skull. Zolotaryov and Dubinina, ribs crushed inward, injuries like a car crash, but with no external wounds. Dubinina's eyes were gone. Her tongue was missing. Clothing carried radiation. One rescuer whispered it was as if something attacked them. Official reports documented the horrors. Organs intact, yet bones pulverized. Dubinina's tongue was torn out before death. Orange skin, gray hair. The language in the files was cold, clinical, but between the lines, doctors hinted at violence that nature could not explain. The Soviet Union quickly silenced the story. Families were told not to question. Case files were stamped top secret. At funerals, relatives swore the bodies looked unnatural. The skin discolored, the hair brittle, aged. The case was closed with one phrase: a compelling natural force, but no one believed it. Explanations emerged. Avalanche, officially favored, but no debris, and footprints showed calm walking. Military testing, parachute mines or secret weapons could explain the injuries and radiation. Infrasound panic, low-frequency sound waves triggering terror. Katabatic winds, sudden walls of air and snow. Avalanche, officially favored, but no debris, and footprints showed calm walking. And then there was the strangest theory, a Yeti attack. The diary's "Snowman Exists" entry, the blurry photo of a tall, dark figure in the trees, the broken branches, the shredded tent, the crushed bones. Skeptics dismiss it as fantasy, but others point out, if it was an avalanche, why the missing tongue? Why the eyes? Why the wounds that looked like combat? Was it weapons? Or something ancient stalking them in the snow? In 2019, Russia reopened the case. They concluded avalanche again, but scientists remain divided. Some computer models show a delayed slab avalanche could happen, yet it doesn't explain the radiation. It doesn't explain Dubinina's tongue. And it doesn't explain the photo of the figure in the trees. 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains unsolved. 9 young hikers, disciplined, prepared, and full of life, walked into the mountains. Something terrified them enough to cut their way out of shelter, barefoot and coatless, into a blizzard. Their last moments were frozen in horror. Scattered bodies, shattered bones, missing eyes, missing tongue. The government called it natural forces, but nothing about this feels natural. Maybe they weren't just victims of the cold. Maybe they weren't alone on that mountain. And maybe, even now, something still waits in the silence of Dyatlov Pass. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a story with no answers, and maybe that's the scariest part, because whatever forced those 9 hikers out of their tent that night is still out there, waiting to be discovered. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more mysteries like it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one, and the next one might keep you up tonight. Until then, stay curious and stay safe out there.